The NFL wildcard weekend is officially over, and we had some really good games this round. None other than the big comeback by the Chicago Bears beating their division rival, the Green Bay Packers, to move on to the divisional round. I think this is their first playoff victory in a long time as well. But let's get right into it, starting with this matchup.
Well, this is a matchup where a lot of people were excited about a big divisional rivalry happening, a playoff game in Chicago after a very long time, and obviously a big, massive playoff win in Chicago after a very long time. But at the end of the day, the biggest takeaway from this game is that the Packers choked. They were up 21-3 in the first half. They had the game literally in their hands, couldn't close it out, allowed the team that usually does show up in the fourth quarter in the Chicago Bears, more so the offensively, because they have a bad habit of showing up late and their offense getting going on late. But whenever it's firing, it is firing on all cylinders. But the issue with the Bears is that they can't do it in the first half, which is obviously a problem, which we'll get into a little bit later. But the big takeaway here is that the Packers choke. So I'm going to ask you this question. Who do you think is the biggest, what would you blame the most for the Packers blowing this lead?
Play calling. Overall, the second half that started. The reason why, I know Brandon McManus left 7 points off the board. That's brutal for sure. Don't get me wrong. The Chicago Bears defense, the Chicago Bears offense was not good in the first half at all, right? Caleb Williams looked amazing in the second half, fourth quarter especially, where they dropped 25 points and the Packers only dropped 6. The reason why I'm giving the biggest blame to the Packers play calling, well, specifically Matt LaFleur's play calling, is because you're up 21-3, and time in and time again, the Packers defense, who had many injuries, especially without Micah Parsons for the year because of his brutal injury he had during the year, gave you opportunity, ample after opportunity to close out the game. And they got like 3 and outs. They couldn't get stuff going until the Bears made a game. They got 1 touchdown. And after that, in the second half, I believe they just went too conservative to a certain extent. Listen, at the end of the day, when you're given the opportunity to close this team out, especially when the Bears have been a comeback kids this year, the cardiac Bears, you could say, you need to put them away. Simple as that. And he did not do the right play calling to put them away. Jordan Love didn't have a bad game, right? Obviously, he didn't execute the certain plays, but I think the conservativeness of the play calling is what was the ultimate downfall, obviously outside of the kicking for the Green Bay Packers.
For me, if a lot of things are to be blamed here, but I have to go with the kicking. You can't look past 7 points being left off the board, because at the end of the day, that was the difference here when you're looking at it from the scoreboard standpoint. Missing an extra point is critical, because at the end of the day, LaFleur and Jordan Love got you to field goal range, but obviously without hitting that extra point from Brandon McManus, you had to go for a touchdown instead of a field goal. That's number one. Number two, missing the field goal if that field goal miss at the end of the half kind of gave the Bears momentum. They came in, they had made adjustments at the halftime, more specifically in the fourth quarter, but that is what kind of defined, they're like, okay, they're still in it because he missed. And then missing one in I believe the third quarter as well, or early fourth quarter, was also huge. So that's 7 points left off the board. Again, what you're saying isn't incorrect, but if I have to pick one that I'm looking at the most, it has to be the special teams, and it has to be Brandon McManus for me, because 7 points is still 7 points. You set him up for that, and he didn't execute.
Not only that, you get the crowd in the game as well, right? Like, there was one time where he called a timeout, and it was a brutal play right after, because it was a delay of game right after a timeout. That can't happen, right? I blame that on coaching, obviously, and team preparedness overall. But yeah, no, like, at the end of the day, like, again, I thought Jordan Love played fine. Matthew Golden had his breakout game in the playoffs, right? Got his first touchdown of his NFL career. Obviously, he's not going to come down to his stats because of the regular season outlook of it. But at the end of the day, like, Romeo Doubs was like the most amazing, their best receiver overall. At the end of the day, like, I'm going to focus on the defensive side. I'm not going to blame the defense necessarily for the loss. But again, the reason why I blame the offense is because the defense gave you opportunity to close out the game. Eventually, the defense was going to break. And this is a game where you missed Micah Parsons at the latter end of the game. Because at least, like, he'll be the game wrecker to at least get to the quarterback. Because the first half of the game, you could tell the Bears and Ben Johnson were inexperienced in that role. Like, Ben Johnson made the playoffs as an OC. and was good, right? This game, like, you could tell, like, okay, the nerves are there. This is the first time the Bears finally overcame some stuff. They won the division, and like not converting those fourth down. Some of those plays weren't even close. The fourth down interceptions that Caleb Williams has thrown, and then Ben Johnson obviously just instead of just punting away the field advantage. It's you could tell like there was some type of nerves going on. But as soon as those kicks that you said happened, he just settled into the game a little bit more. The crowd got into the game. And Caleb Williams looked like that USC guy that we saw, the style, not saying he is Patrick Mahomes, but the style of the flashiness of how Patrick Mahomes gets that completion. Because that completion was nuts.
Yeah, and that fourth down play, that was absolutely clutch. That was much needed. And literally saved the game. That's the play. If you're going to look at one play, one game-changing play, that's the play you're going to look at for the Chicago Bears. But again, talking more about the Bears side, give credit to Caleb Williams for at the end of the day sticking in there and getting the job done. I give credit to DJ Moore having a good game and Colson Loveland. It was a big team effort. The defense did their job in terms of keeping them in it as well. Again, this is a defense that allows a lot of yards, but they do force turnovers. But in this game, they were put in bad spots by their offense because making, in the first half especially, going for it on your own end is a very poor decision in my opinion, but you could tell that Ben Johnson definitely came from Detroit in that sense. But overall, again, I look at the Packers more in this than I look at the Bears because the Bears have had many comeback wins here, but the big takeaway here is the Packers choke more so than the Bears coming back. But at the end of the day, that does not take away from what the Chicago Bears did. And also that gives them, one, they're playing at home against the LA Rams, which is going to be a huge advantage for them, playing in the cold weather as well and outdoors. But number two is that now you could come away from this game looking at like, okay, the Bears can do something here and the Bears can go all the way because when they were hit with adversity, they found a way to get the job done. And that's what the playoffs are about, finding a way to get a job done. And that's what the Ben Johnson-led Chicago Bears did.
Listen, this was I think maybe yours too, but this was like my biggest fraud team as the season was going on because of what their schedule was and the games that they're winning, that they're winning against at the time. Ever since I made that comment, they pretty much proved me wrong to the point where, like, now we saw Jaden Daniels last year. We saw Bo Nix in the playoffs last year, and we're going to see him this year now. Caleb Williams is now firmly and now Drake May as well. Caleb Williams. This is quarterback class. The question mark was Caleb Williams. Is he really the number one guy? He's proven that. Like, if you do a redraft, you're still taking the guy because of the way the style this guy plays. And ultimately, the last thing I want to close it out on is on the Packers side of things before we move on to the next matchup. I don't think he is, but should Matt LaFleur be fired?
After this game, I can't say for sure just because there is. Look, because I didn't deem him as a single biggest reason why.
Injuries as well.
There's also there's injuries. Losing your best defensive player is not going to help. Your kicker leaving 7 points when you got him into a position to get 7 points, that's definitely not going to help. So again, does he deserve blame? 100%, he does. But it's not all on Matt LaFleur. And that's the reason why I would still keep him. At the end of the day, this guy's a great head coach. He has a great offensive mind. He has made Green Bay competitive with multiple quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, and transitioning to Jordan Love. He has done a great job with that as well. So again, I would keep Matt LaFleur, but at some point you're gonna have to. It may be obviously it is happening right now.
Yeah.
But at some point you're gonna have to start having those conversations about that. If you want to win playoff football games, is this going to be the guy to do it? And right now, he hasn't really given you an answer. He hasn't given you a clear yes. But at the end of the day, he did have some success. He took in 2021 or 2020. Aaron Rodgers and him went to the NFC Championship games.
Aaron Rodgers was MVP those 2 years
but also he also got upset by like the 49ers team when they were the 1 seed as well. But then you look at them being the 7th seed and being the Cowboys a few years ago, and taking that number 1 seed in Niners to literally to the end with Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey, the year that the San Francisco 49ers made the Super Bowl with those guys. So you're like, okay, there's something happening. But then last year, you just had an absolute stinker. And then this year, you blew it. But again,
Injuries.
it's just, yeah, like there, if it was like last year's loss, then I would be more on the other side. But this year, I feel like because he is such a good coach and good offensive mind, like it's hard to find that.
Yeah.
Even though the head coaching job market is pretty sweet with obviously Harbaugh getting fired. We don't know what's going to happen with Tomlin. But
here's the thing. He shouldn't, one, because like look at the end of the day, he's getting them to a playoffs opportunity. Andy Reid did not get shit done in the playoffs until he got Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying that he like Jordan loves to be Patrick Mahomes or anything like that. He can elevate the game. He's in a very hard division. Now, there's argument like if Minnesota could figure out their quarterback situation, they have 4 teams now similar to, well, I can't count Arizona, but like the 3 top teams in the NFC West who are they have 3 teams literally left in the playoffs, and then they're north. At the end of the day, yes, John Harbaugh is available, don't get me wrong, but is there a head coach that's really definitively better than him available in the market? You have to bank on an OC or a DC potentially. Otherwise, we'll see if Mike Tomlin does get available. Obviously, John Harbaugh is available. But at least this guy I understand he's not getting it done in the big games. That's the big question mark we're going to have with Kyle Shanahan once he gets a healthy roster next year. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at an example of Andy Reid. He got a change of scenery from Philly. It worked out in the long term for him. But he couldn't get the big one done until he got Patrick Mahomes and was able to figure stuff out there as well. I don't think he should get fired. I think he needs at least another a couple of years because good head coaches don't grow on trees. And at the end of the day, he's a really good head coach in the NFL.
Yeah, that is true. But at the end of the day, I don't really think the Andy Reid Mahomes comparison works in this situation.
Well, I'm just saying Andy Reid before Mahomes. Andy Reid before Mahomes.
Yeah, I know. But at the end of the day, it's like Matt LaFleur has had his dude. He had an MVP Rodgers. And he's having Jordan Love, so I don't think that really works here. But obviously, at the end of the day, you got to keep him just because like there's no one definitively better. Even though it is a good head coaching market right now. But again, Matt LaFleur is a very solid head coach. But let's move on to the 49ers and Eagles. 49ers with the upset.
You were right. I was wrong on this one.
The Eagles look.
But don't worry, because we have one coming up later.
I know, but this one was more so. Bold than the other one. So
fair.
At the end of the day, like if there's one team that was gonna lose or should have lost, it should have been the 49ers, depending on the situation. But that's when you got to give credit to Kyle Shanahan and his coaching, and Robert Saleh and his coaching, and the discipline that the San Francisco 49ers showed without taking any penalties, helping out the Eagles. And on the other side, you have literal dysfunction between players and coaches and play calling and everything that couldn't go wrong for Philadelphia that has been going wrong all season long. Really, literally showed in just the final play, because like the fact that you have to call a timeout, you talk about a play, and that's you're running 4 verticals. It just makes zero sense to me. Literally wasted your time, wasted a timeout. So overall, again, it's plain and simple. The 49ers out-coached the Eagles, and they got the job done. Even with Purdy throwing 2 interceptions, this guy outplayed Jalen Hurts as well, because Jalen Hurts looked lost. Brock Purdy, at the end of the day, even with 2 picks, looked comfortable and got the clutch game-winning touchdown to Christian McCaffrey at the end. So overall, a lot of credit to the 49ers for playing a really clean, or in terms of penalty-wise, clean game and having offensive clutchness. But at the same time, they also got a lot of help from the Eagles just being the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, so like, that was going to be the reason why the Niners would have won this game. Literally, what you just said. Starting off with the Niners for me. This is why you don't get rid of coaches, even if they can't get the full job done in the playoffs. Kyle Shanahan is that great of an offensive mastermind. He was able to get the best out of that offense. George Kittle got hurt in this game as well. Torn Achilles, get well soon. It sucks, unfortunately, but at the end of the day, they rallied around that, and moved on to end up winning the game. Brock Purdy made some big mistakes, but he was able to come up big when he needed to. But this is more about the Eagles' dysfunction than it is the Niners. Not discrediting what the Niners did. Freaking Juwan Jennings, legend. Like that touchdown pass he threw to Christian McCaffrey, insane. And then the post media after, just showing how his character is at the end, like just how funny he is and just going nuts with it. Ultimately, we'll talk more about this team when they play the Seahawks, the rematch, because that's what it's going to come down to for me. But the Philadelphia Eagles, I was a year too late with my prediction on this, but the only difference was they ended up winning the Super Bowl last year through this dysfunction. This team's in shambles. Kevin Patullo is gone. We know that. Listen, he's not getting fired. But if I were to say if I would be surprised if Nick Sirianni were to get fired, no, because it's Philly. Just one word. It's Philly. Simple as that. Like, if I were to say who's more likely to get fired between LaFleur and Sirianni, it might be Sirianni because of how Philly is and, like, how the season went and the dysfunction from these last 2 or 3 years we had. But at the end of the day, your offense is shit. You have Saquon Barkley. You weren't able to get the job done there. Nick Sirianni's too heavily relying on his coordinators, clearly, because, like, defensively, they were fine. Offensively, once again, they lost Kellen Moore. They were shit. They lost Shane Steichen. The next year, they were shit. They lost Jonathan Gannon. Even the defensive side, before they got Vic Fangio, they were shit a year after they made the Super Bowl. And then on top of that, this A.J. Brown fiasco. I'm telling you right now, I will be shocked if this guy's a Philadelphia Eagles start next year.
And that's fair. And that, to me, is on both parties because...
A.J. Brown was awful.
Yeah, like A.J. Brown has been awful. Like the drops were absolutely massive. You're a superstar receiver getting paid superstar money, and you are not doing superstar things. And on top of that, you chatting as well on and off the field doesn't help. One, doesn't have a good look on you, but number two,
more attention to the team.
It's not, yeah, more attention to be. But number two is just you're not backing it up as well. So you can't really say shit when you're not producing as well. Then again, it is on the other side. You're looking at the coaching and the play calling and Jalen Hurts. You're like, okay, you're not getting the ball to him either. So there's a reason why he's upset. But then it goes the other way. We're like, okay, when we get the ball to him, he doesn't do anything with it. That's kind of what the storyline was for there. My biggest issue was that the fact that you can't get Saquon Barkley going. That was my biggest issue. So again, you look at Hurts as well, but the biggest issue was Kevin Patullo, and that was the biggest issue from week 1 all the way up into this playoff loss. Sirianni, at the end of the day, I don't know how he's doing it, but he has made the playoffs all 5 years in his 10 years.
2 Super Bowls, winning one as well.
Yeah, literally made a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl. So again, he shouldn't be fired, but you got to give credit to the guy because at the end of the day, when he does, well, kind of he's 50-50 on him, but when he's hit on his coordinators, they're a great team.
And he has a good chance of hitting on one this year because I will be shocked if Patullo does come back.
Yeah, 100%.
Simple as that.
So, but again, you also got to look at Jalen Hurts. This is the last point I'm going to make about this game. You got to look at Jalen Hurts as well. Last year, he was the problem in the playoffs up until the Super Bowl game. This year, he is still a problem because... Again, I'm going back to the Buffalo Bills game where he had 0 passing yards in the second half, which is absolutely horrendous. And then this game in the second half, when they needed him most, he couldn't turn it up. Again, you have the play calling to blame as well. But overall, when you look at the other guy and Brock Purdy, just even with 2 interceptions, just simply outplayed him. No matter what. He looked confident. He looked like a guy who was going to get the job done. Jalen Hurts looked lost, looked confused, and looked like a guy that was just going to crumble under the pressure.
Listen, O-line wasn't hurt throughout the year a little bit. It wasn't like the same dominant O-line the whole year. But one thing we saw this Philly team throughout the year is like that second half. I think what game was it where he had like 0 passing yards in the whole
Buffalo
second half?
I just said that.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry.
I literally just used that example.
Sorry, yeah, okay. I was just thinking of something else when he must have said that because my next point was Luke Wilson, who's on TSN Sports Center, brought up a good point. He is a read quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, there'll be times, there's some times where I see him, like, okay, yeah, he looked at his reads. But if it's like the one read isn't there, I'm going to go scramble. Right? Like, that's why, like, even like the final play was triple coverage to Dallas Goedert, ultimately. And then, obviously blaming Sirianni, like, why call a timeout? You could have at least saved your timeout and have one last hurrah at the thing, like, one last chance, even if it's going to be a Hail Mary attempt, whatever the case might be. But the fact that you watch Jalen Hurts, this is where Jalen Hurts conversations of is he a elite quarterback or not come in, right? Yes, we have seen the elite tendencies as a quarterback, passing and running. But then we've seen like, one read not there, I'm going to scramble, throw the ball away. yes, like you might not get the picks. It's gonna look good on the stat sheet, and people are gonna stat sheet stuff read that. But when you watch that, it's like, okay, what the hell? At the end of the day, you run, you scramble, great. Your completion percentage is gonna be fine because you didn't throw the ball because you ran and scrambled. So overall, like I wonder if these guys are gonna get Mike McDaniel, Brian Daboll, whoever else is gonna be available from the OC side of things. Because, like, yeah, again, this Eagles team has been a up and seesaw or like a wave. 1 year good, 1 year bad, 1 year good, 1 year bad. So I won't be shocked if they're back in the conversation next year because their division is ass. At the end of the day, we'll see if Washington can get a healthy Jaden Daniels to come back because they're moving off of Cliff Kingsbury and them. And we'll ultimately see what Dallas ends up looking like because they had some good moments throughout the year. But, man, this for a team that wins, the drama, not even just the drama, the relationship they have with their fan base is nuts after winning a Super Bowl, a year after winning the Super Bowl. I mean,
that's Philly fans for you.
I know.
But let's move on to one of the almost surprises of the week, where the Carolina Panthers actually put a scare and a massive scare into what is everyone's Super Bowl favorites in the Los Angeles Rams, where Bryce Young, Jalen Coker, Tetairoa McMillan all looked phenomenal in their game, as well as their Panthers defense and their DBs in Mike Jackson and JC Horn, who also had an incredible game, especially Mike Jackson, who was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And obviously Derek Brown doing his thing, being the leader. But in the end, the clutchness, the experience of Stafford and Nakua and Adams and Kobe Parkinson with an incredible TD grab was too much for the Carolina Panthers. Valiant effort. People didn't give you a chance, but they followed the formula. They followed a similar-ish formula like they did against the LA Rams when they beat them in the regular season. Similar scoreline. It's just that this time it was 34-31 for the Rams instead of the Panthers. But again, a very fun game to watch, a very competitive game to watch. And both QBs had their bad moments, but also had their really good moments. And in the end, the experience and the favorites got it done.
So starting off with Bryce Young, I'm not saying he's a franchise quarterback yet, but he's put himself in the conversation of like, okay, I can be your guy. Players stepped up on both sides of the ball, right? Overall, like Dave Canales has his team set up. This division is, the culture he has set up is amazing. This division in general is the easiest division in football. So we'll see what the Bucs do. Can they stay healthy? You know, how they might upgrade themselves next year. Obviously, we'll see what ends up Atlanta doing because they cleaned house there with Matt Ryan being their president of football operations. And we'll see if the Saints can take a jump because they were a little bit of a surprise for me in terms of getting 6 wins this year. But at least like what I've seen from this Carolina team, I'm expecting another step in a sense that, listen, you got guys, playmakers, you've got, like, yeah, you took the risk on Bryce Young and it looked like it was about to fail. But after that, essentially the Andy Dalton car accident, after Bryce Young got benched, you saw the emergence of it. And this year even, he was up and down. There were moments where he was amazing. In that Rams game during the season, amazing. But there are games that were like, oh shit, this is Bryce Young. So do I give him the big $50 million contract right now? I wouldn't. I will wait. I'll let him play out on one more year. If he holds out, that's a whole different conversation. Then we got to figure that situation out from there. But ultimately, I still think it's going to be a risk to give him $50 million because we're seeing quarterbacks that are struggling in that sense.
But overall, I'm just going to add to the point for the Panthers this offseason. You're going to be looking to add offensive lineman help because Ike Ekwonu,
could be out 6 to 12 months.
Could be out 6 to 12 months. So obviously, you're going to try to improve that. But one reaction I saw a lot, and I think it was a very fair reaction, is that the Panthers missed Luke Kuechly because when it came down to those moments, the middle of the field is where Stafford attacked, and that's where a lot of their weapons and the players got success, and that's where that middle of the field is what led the Rams to come back and overall. But again, a great performance for the Carolina Panthers, a surprising performance, and it shows you that this team definitely has a future and can potentially get the job done, pending hopefully a great offseason where they fix their weaknesses.
Okay, so I brought it up. Will you pay him $50 million, Bryce Young?
No. You gotta wait.
You're gonna do the whole like wait because this is his contract year. They picked up the 5th-year option, obviously.
Yeah, like why do you need to rush it?
What's okay if you were to get a contract right now? What would you give him? 30 mil?
Yeah, I think that's what's like similar to Sam Darnold.
Yeah, around
like 30, 35, around there.
I would give him that much too.
Yeah,
because again, you gotta look at the current market as well.
Yeah, but yeah, you don't need to rush this situation, in my opinion. Again, you have still another year to really evaluate him. And right now, 3 years, he's 2 for 3. Terrible rookie year. Bounce backs in the second year, in the second half. And this year, at the end of the day, I know it's a weak division, but he led you to a playoff spot and almost a playoff victory. So, yeah, like you said, he may not be the franchise guy yet, but he definitely is a guy that they can get it done potentially for them. And that's what a lot of teams don't have.
Yeah. Like our team.
Yeah, exactly.
but going to the LA Rams side, this needs to be a wake-up call for them. The last few games of the regular season, now this one, giving up leads is not a good thing for this team now, because next up you're playing the Chicago Bears, and this team, we just saw them come back against the Green Bay Packers. Listen, you gave the ball with not enough time in Matthew Stafford's hands. He was bound to get it done, and he did that. Like, obviously, Kobe Parkinson, like you addressed earlier, with a crazy catch. But other than that, like, with how good Puka Nacua has been, outside of like one maybe bad drop he probably had.
That was 7. That was 7 points.
Yeah,
that was a really bad
Stafford,
drop.
Except for the third quarter, Stafford struggled a bit, but like otherwise, we saw the MVP performance a little bit in this game, especially when
we saw the clutchness.
Yeah,
that's
like
what you gotta look at.
And he's like, what? He's out of all the active players, he has the most led game-winning drives in the NFL. That's amongst active quarterbacks. But hopefully this is just a wake-up call for them, because they cannot be giving teams like this. And the other concern is still there. The special teams. Another blocked punt, which helped, obviously, Bryce Young. They were already in their own, in the Rams' end to get either a touchdown or a field goal. I forgot what they ended up getting in that play. But overall, like, the struggles are still there, and we're seeing the weakness there. I still believe this is the best team remaining in the NFL. If they could get their way figured out, like they were on the hot stretch before they ended up losing to the Seattle Seahawks in that, what was it, week 16, 17-ish game?
16.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, it's going to be a tough game to go to the Bears, because it's going to be cold. You guys are an LA team. You guys play in a dome in LA. You guys are going to be playing outdoor in Chicago. Yes, inexperienced team. We'll see what ends up happening, and then you guys got to stay tuned for that when we do our preview for the divisional round.
Also, I think you got to look at as well is Stafford and his finger injury as well.
Yeah.
Which is not going to be fun in the cold.
Exactly.
As well, because you're used to playing in a dome. Even in Detroit, this guy played in a dome. So it's not like Stafford is a cold weather genius compared to like Aaron Rodgers.
The biggest winner of all this is the Seattle Seahawks, because obviously they were hoping the Packers would win. They ended up choking, but the Niners, they had to thank their own division mates that they got the Rams first instead of the Niners, because if they got the Rams, I feel like it would have been a tough first game for the Seahawks to come. But again, stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys hit the post notification bell, because our next video will be the divisional round preview. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We appreciate everybody so far. But let's move on to the AFC side of things here. Do you have anything else to add in the NFC to close it out?
No, let's get into
it. Bills, Jags, the big matchup on the side. And this is where I was right and you were wrong. Like you said, a little bit more of a bolder prediction on your end on the Niners side of things. This one was a little bit more of a toss-up. But I don't blame
people. I was right to an extent. Yeah. I said he was going to ball out, and he absolutely balled out. Yeah. But I said the Buffalo Bills usually find ways to lose this football game. And this, as a team, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars were the biggest.
In your opinion, they were the most complete team in the NFL.
Yeah, but like, No, what I'm trying to say is that this was, as a team, is the biggest test for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, they're going to have, their offense is going to face a big test against the Denver Broncos, but I don't think their defense is going to face as big of a test like they did against what was a hot Jaguars team coming into the playoffs. But at the end of the day, the defense got the job done. They scored too quickly. Obviously, Jaguars are smart, allowing Allen to score. But we've seen this defense give up that game-tying field goal or give up the go-ahead touchdown before. They got the job done. And that's the main takeaway I'm having for this game is offensively, it's going to go all on Josh Allen's hands. But defensively, they have enough for something to happen. Obviously, you need the guys to be healthy. Like we saw when Jordan Poyer go out, they started getting a little bit more. They started getting torched. So again, but when this defense is as healthy it has been in the playoff time, which is huge. Getting a guy like Joey Bosa is huge. Matt Milano's healthy in the playoff time, which is obviously rare. So
yeah.
So this is huge. Like this is a good moment and a great test for the defense, and they got that job done. So my big takeaway was, again, it's gonna be on Josh Allen's hands. He's gonna have to play like Superman, but at the end of the day, he has some help, and it's not on the offensive side. It is a little bit on the defensive side where they can help him.
Yeah.
Just secure the win, not necessarily be a dominant defense.
Josh Allen plays good, they have a chance of winning. Josh Allen does not play good, or you do not give him the help that he needs, they're going to lose this game. It was a close game at the end of the day. It was still scary. He had to be Superman at the end. The tush push that led to a touchdown, essentially.
Almost, yeah.
Almost touchdown, like still to the 1 yard line, and obviously ultimately let him score there. Listen, the big test is going to be the Broncos game and maybe the Texans game if they get past that. Listen, this is my Super Bowl representative of the AFC because I'm believing that Josh Allen is going to be Superman. He's going to be playing like this, and he's played like this before. I am concerned a little bit because he was a little banged up. When
that what it was. We didn't see Josh Allen get banged up and play like this before.
Exactly.
So like,
and now when you're playing against the Broncos defense,
it's going to be tough. Yeah, it's going to be very tough. But like what Josh Allen did, that game was absolutely amazing and absolutely fantastic to the point that he put up another performance where if the Buffalo Bills lost that game, you're like, that's not on Josh Allen.
Yeah, like I said, the run game was going to struggle because it's the Jags' run defense is one of the best.
They got to get that going, though, yeah.
They need to get James Cook going to help him even more, but he was able to make plays. We saw players step up. Shakir, obviously Keon Coleman had a play. His targets. Yeah. So at the end of the day, like to close with the Bills side before we get to the Jags, it's just Josh Allen and help him as much as you can because listen, they have a good chance to get to the Super Bowl this year, as mentioned before, but it is a team sport, and we need to see the best out of all three phases, essentially, to help him out. The Jags side, they're going to be punching themselves. There was a big missed opportunity. Trevor Lawrence played like Trevor Lawrence in a sense that like we saw the good in this game, but we also see the old Trevor Lawrence come back. Both picks were not good. The last pick, yes, it was not a good...
I mean, it was a great defensive play.
Great defensive play. Jacoby Myers could have made a play, should have tried to make a play on that one because there's a reason why you went and got him and extended him. But ultimately, that you didn't give Cam Little a chance to tie the game because Cam Little could probably hit a 70-yarder. You probably would have given him the opportunity to do it. Yes, he missed a field goal in this game as well. And was it, what, a 65er or whatever it was?
No, it was like a 50.
Oh, sorry, it was a close one.
It was like 55.
Yeah, 55 because that's 65 for him. Is still like it was there. But we could have seen the power leg release tie the game up. But this is where I'm seeing like, oh, Trevor Lawrence showed up from, earlier from the year or like from the previous year as well. But for me, at the end of the day, like, yes, Parker Washington, great game. He can Jacoby Myers only had one. He had 4 targets, 1 catch. BTJ had like I think 1 or 2 targets as well. He had 1 catch. That's where I'm like, okay, what the hell happened to their top receivers? Obviously, again, Parker Washington had a really good year. But you would expect like a guy like Jacoby Myers or BTJ to step up in this situation, especially Jacoby Myers, because he's been really good as a Jacksonville Jaguar ever since he got traded there mid-season.
Yeah.
The run game did play well because the Bills defense wasn't
I'm not going to be
in that sense.
Harsh. You know, like obviously the viral moment at the end where that reporter was just praising
Liam
Cohen. I 100% agree with the reporter.
Wait, do you agree with the reporter doing that? Let me ask you that first.
Why would
because some people are like reporters were chiming on Twitter are like, that's not your job to do that.
Whatever. Yeah. Like what she said, what she believed.
Yeah, fair.
At the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, and I think that I believe she is correct. Look, they had a great year. They had a fantastic year. They weren't expected to be here as well. Again, was it a missed opportunity? I 100% agree with you. But at the end of the day, we saw something in this game where Trevor Lawrence got the Jaguars a lead in this game. Right? At the end of the day, this offense did take over in the third quarter. He got Etienne into the end zone, which was obviously huge. I know Myers and BTJ didn't have their good games, but that's how it's been all year, especially BTJ. Because of Parker Washington being so good, he's able to win his matchups. And also, when you're looking at it, Parker Washington was the unknown this year.
Yeah.
People are when you're looking at Jaguars, you're going to look at, okay, you got to figure out to stop BTJ. You got to figure out to stop Jacoby Myers. And Parker Washington, who was absolutely fantastic this year, just won his one-on-one matchups and got the job done. Trevor Lawrence got this football team down the field, got the lead with 3 minutes left, I believe, or 4 minutes left. Again, a lot of time left for Josh Allen, don't get me wrong. And when you need it again, you did throw that interception. The 2 interceptions weren't great, right? I 100% agree with you. But his drives, when he was in rhythm, he looked fantastic. So again, it's like the Carolina Panthers, but even more so juggernaut because the Jaguars don't need much, really. Like if some people leave, then they might need to replace them. But the Jaguars don't need much. The Jaguars are here. And I expect a similar sort of season next year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to be back. And overall, I'm going to have no issues with them. Again, missed opportunity, 100%. But the future is bright in Jacksonville.
One thing I do want to say, okay, first of all, I'm going to correct myself. BTC got 2 targets, 2 catches. But everybody's like, oh, the emergence of Parker in Washington. When Travis Hunter comes back, just shove him a DB.
Yeah, that's fair. Like,
obviously, certain players put him on offense. We know that. But like, let him focus more as a DB, even though he's probably more stronger at the wide receiver spot than he's DB, I believe.
People say he's stronger as a DB.
Okay, yeah, I've seen split reactions on both sides, but like at least he could focus on the DB side of things. But that's Jacksonville. Great season. Obviously, missed opportunity in both of our opinions. But let's move on to
the 2 duds, man. Let's just
yeah.
Like, these are gonna be crazy. Like, other ones, the first 4 games were amazing. That's why we talked so much about it.
Exactly.
These next 2, let's start off with the Patriots Chargers, the Sunday Night Football. Number 1, what the hell was it a Sunday Night Football game?
Yeah, I don't get that.
Like, I'll just like have it the Eagles, Niners, or like again the Bills Jaguars. But like I did not agree with this being the Sunday Nighter, and it clearly showed why. Because number 1, Justin Herbert. Again, you can't really blame this one on him too much because this guy kept on getting absolutely obliterated. He had to run away for his life almost every single play. He got sacked 6 times, but it definitely could have been more if it wasn't for his legs. And overall, his wide receivers weren't getting opened up quick enough. Keelan Allen had a really bad drop in the 4th quarter, which was a literal drive killer as well. Christian Gonzalez was absolutely fantastic in this game.
Got hurt in this game, though.
He also got hurt, yeah, but he was absolutely fantastic. The New England Patriots defense was fantastic. Milton Williams just ended it. Literally, how Milton Williams finished off this game was literally the story of the game for that side of the football. Other side, you give credit to Jesse Minter and the Chargers defense. They are a talented defense led by a talented defensive coordinator. They gave trouble to Drake May. And right now, people have questions about Drake May and how he's going to be in the playoffs because
he woke up in the second half.
Yeah, he woke up in the second half a bit, but at the end of the day, look who he's playing next. Yeah, it's going to be much tougher, more difficult.
We'll talk about New England in a second here.
But overall, again, the Chargers, they're that's what they are. They're the Steelers they're all another Steelers.
Yeah,
basically just losing in the first round. Whatever it is, if it's Herbert's fault, yeah. If it's just the health, yeah. Whatever is going wrong with the LA Chargers, it's literally everything, just from top to bottom. Again, a few years ago when they blew that big ass lead to Jacksonville, you're like, oh, it's a defense. Last year it was Justin Herbert. Yeah. This year, O-line and the offense in general. Yeah,
I do wonder how different it would have been if one or both of Slater and Alt were healthy.
It will be different. It would have been different.
He obviously, again, Herbert's playing with the surgery on his left hand. Listen, he's probably my favorite quarterback in the NFL. Right, like I've mentioned this in the pod before, and I'm not gonna make excuses. This was not a great game from him standards as well, and so it's 3 playoff games, no wins,
3 duds basically for him.
At the end of the day, this one I'm not fully blaming on him because listen, when they put the PFF stats on those all the O linemen, it's like the meme is there's 32 teams in the NFL. How the hell are there 46 out of like 47? Right?
All of them.
Mekhi Becton, yes, injuries was a thing, but he was supposed to be a really good guard upgrade for them this offseason. It was not the case this year. Overall, again, the defense did so well enough for them to win this game.
Yeah.
Because we knew there was going to be some...
It was 6-3 in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, we knew there were going to be some struggles with Drake May because, again, rookie, first game, the nerves were going to be there a little bit. He ended up getting going a little bit later to seal the game, right? The final touchdown to Hunter Henry, I believe it was. But at the end of the day, again, this team is good. They need to hope for their sake Jesse Minter does not get a head coaching opportunity. take one or get a job, regardless what the case might be. Because then we have to worry about the defense. Number 2, they need to get off of Greg Roman. There's a reason why Baltimore got off of him, and they were better with Todd Monken for a little bit. I know Baltimore this year, a little bit of a different story with the drama there, with the coaching staff. But I think they need to get out of Greg Roman a little bit. Listen, yes, again, Justin Herbert, when he did escape the pocket, he did not make the throws he needed to. But like you said, the receivers didn't really get open for him, or he just missed the throw, or he had to throw the ball away or take a sack, whatever the case might be. But I feel like, again, and then you need to address the interior on the offensive line. So overall, can this team be back next year? Yes. Is the division going to be hard again? Yes, because I feel like the Chiefs were going to have obviously bounce back. We'll see what Patrick Mahomes' health is going to be ultimately be like. Is he going to be back in time or during the year? So overall, my thing for them is hopefully it's just another year of Herbert being bad in the playoffs. Really good regular season once again, even with all the injuries. They just need.
But nobody cares.
Yeah,
Two
at the end of the
shits
day, no
about
one
it
cares.
anymore.
Like,
No, not anymore.
And I can't even defend him too much either. As
Yeah,
much as I love
like-
the guy, I do believe he is still a top 7 quarterback in the NFL. But we'll see.
But you can't really. Nobody's gonna give a shit now
Until you get the result in the
Yeah,
playoff, and he
exactly.
does, and hopefully, does he have a team to do it for next year? Yes, but they need to make some changes.
He's having that
on the offensive side of the ball.
It's that Lamar Jackson narrative now.
Yeah.
He has a massive monkey on his back, and nobody's gonna care if you win an MVP. If you keep losing the first round of playoffs, it's not gonna be good.
And the way he's losing
yeah,
too, not even.
and just
It's
the
not like Josh Allen.
Yeah, the
way.
Patriots side again. Defensively, we knew that this team's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
Led by Mike Vrabel. They did that. Offensively, again, Drake May looked uncomfortable, which is obviously a concern because again he is first time in the playoffs, which is obviously
But
fair.
as the game went on, though, he looked comfortable. Let's
Yeah,
just say
which is
that.
huge. But then at the same time, you don't. A lot of credit does go to the defense, just absolutely like not putting the pressure on him because they would have won that game 6-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the pressure wasn't on Drake May. So that's a lot of credit goes to defense there. But again, there's concerns, but he also answered some of them, and he's gonna have also a massive test in his next game against the Houston Texans, which is the next game we're gonna get into with another snooze fest. But if you want to wrap up anything, yeah.
wrap up on the Patriots side of things, I would do one thing on the defensive side. Listen, they knew what to do. The whole line was trash, blitz every play. Simple as that. Like, I think Dan Orlovsky said, like, from a quarter, because he's a former quarterback. Yes, wasn't an elite quarterback, but he said he, in a respectful way, he's like he didn't know what the scheme was for the Patriots defense. It was just like they made it just look weird and confusing to get it done. And that for me is somewhat of a Mike Vrabel special because he does some weird stuff in general.
Like, you adjust to who you're playing.
But I feel like this is a good game for Drake May because, again, he got comfortable as he goes. Again, we'll preview their Texans matchup later because it's going to be a way different defense and way harder defense to play against. But I feel like this was a good stepping stone as the game went on. He looked comfortable. He looked poised. He looked like the MVP finalist that we thought he was as the game went on. But like you said, close it off. It's going to be quick, snooze fest. Pretty much exactly what we thought the Steelers-Texans game was going to be. Started off, the Steelers were in there because the Texans' offense was awful.
Here's the thing.
Turnovers and everything.
Like we said, the only way the Steelers were going to win this game was if that was the case.
And the home field advantage.
And the home field advantage. So how many, the Texans turned the football over? Or?
Yeah, there was a play where they tried to do a flea flicker. I forgot, Jack Sawyer, of course. Jack Sawyer.
Jack Sawyer.
Got his arm, fumbled the ball, and then I forgot who the lineman was. But he ended up getting an interception type thing, but ended up being a fumble. And then there was another, I think, play where I think TJ Watt or someone got the fumble as well.
So the reason
game
why
became a snooze fest in the second half. I'll be honest with you, I was like half asleep for it.
The reason why I asked that because the Texans, again, I did not watch most of this game. I'm happy. Out of all the games I missed, it was this one. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because the Texans' offensive usually don't play clean, right? If at the end of the day they don't make bad situations worse. So again, what we said, the Steelers need to keep the game tight. If they're gonna win, they got to find a way to keep the Houston Texans offense below 20. And honestly, they did because they had two defensive touchdowns.
Yeah, it was a fumble return and a pick six.
So technically, they kept them at 16 points. The only issue is the Houston Texans defense is very difficult to move the football around the Houston Texans defense.
You give the Texans defense a small enough, like at least a max, minimum 10-point lead, or even 7-point lead. I mean, I even say 1-point lead. They might be able to close that game out.
Look,
regardless.
The Steelers defense did what they're supposed to do. The Steelers had a game plan. It was 7-6 for the first 3 quarters, so which was huge. The Steelers were in it. There was a chance here. But at the end of the day, the way that their offense is and how inconsistent their offense is, it was going to be very difficult for them to win this football game. Again, that elite of a defense, and then you have an offense that just is literally was hit or miss this year. And again, it's just like an average O-line, a quarterback that's old and can't really move anymore. Run game's not necessarily there.
Run game was awful. But to your point, the quarterback, like how many times have we seen prime Aaron Rodgers or even like latter end of Green Bay Aaron Rodgers see that he could like fake a throw but then run for the first down because he's done that many times.
You can't do that.
This game, the Baltimore game, even he wasn't able to do that. I was mad Baltimore lost this game because I felt like they could have given a better chance at it. I'm not saying they would have won this game. Baltimore would have won this game, but like at the end of the day, they only got 2 field goals. They weren't able to get the touchdown. DK had a very bad drop, which was a drive killer in the second quarter, I believe. Overall, when at the end of the day, it wasn't take a lot to beat this team. Their defense did step up, got the turnovers that they needed because we know the Texans' offense is not good. CJ Stroud is getting the overrated combo talk now, even though he gets the job done when it needs to. Still, at the end of the day, overall. Listen, the Steelers, we figured out, we said it in our video, we don't know what's going to happen. This is what they've been losing playoff games since 2016. I think this is our
10 years now.
Yeah. Like every time they made the playoffs since 2016, they've lost in the first round. Especially the most brutal one was against the Browns from a couple of years ago. But let me ask you this. Aaron Rodgers, is he done? Because the way it looked like it ended at the end, it seemed like he might be done, number one. And number two, should they take Ty Simpson if he falls to them in like whatever pick they're gonna be, like early 20s, late teens there?
Well, that depends on who's your head coach.
Fair. Do you think he's coming back?
I think I think we both still agree it's time.
It's time for a change. Yes.
Yeah. If you get rid of Mike Tomlin, you gotta really nail that reset.
John Harbaugh.
Never ever gonna happen. Never ever.
Hey,
even if they get John Harbaugh, he's gonna boot out of the city. Even if he's their head coach.
No, I mean no. You can't say that. I feel like the coaching will be fine.
I would say, bro,
John Harbaugh probably wants to stick up a middle finger to Baltimore right now too.
No
you gotta remember
way,
that as
no
well.
chance. There's
You
no.
really believe they won't hire him because of that?
Okay. Yes. I also think the Steelers fans will boo John Harbaugh if he's their head coach. I truly 100% believe that.
In what way are you talking about? Because they were rivals for all these years?
Yes. Or? Look.
Okay,
bro,
I think that's just stupid if that's the case.
Literally the smallest one. I'll bring that up as an example.
Yeah.
Corey Perry was an Anaheim Duck. He goes to LA Kings. He's getting booed by his own fans. He was getting literally fucking... Bro, this is a rivalry. One of literal, this is out of all the situations where it's just gonna happen, it's gonna happen with this one.
Okay.
It's a different story if it's like freaking D'Amico Ryans going from Houston to Jacksonville. That's fair, whatever. This, I 100% believe if the head coaches swap, the own fans will boo their own head coach.
I think
because of how much history there is. The same thing will happen, especially I would say the same thing will happen.
I think it's stupid. I would personally think that's stupid.
Whatever it is, but no, the rivalry is just too deep. Even if I'm it just can't happen. It just literally can't happen.
Okay, so that's fine. Okay, then who else would it be?
It's just
You gotta figure yeah.
I don't care who it is. I'm just saying if Tomlin is gone, you just gotta hit a reset button because one, it's gonna be very difficult to find that type of head coach. But number two, it's just time for a full reset because you can't get a quarterback to replace Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think Ty Simpson's that guy. I think Ty Simpson, I'll be honest with you, but because here's what I saw from Ty Simpson in against Georgia and Indiana. A guy that when it started getting uncomfortable, he just can't play anymore. He can't face adversity. So I think Ty Simpson will end up being like a Kenny Pickett draft pick.
So you're saying that if Mike Tomlin,
I'm not saying as bad as Kenny Pickett, but
you're saying
not going to be that guy.
You're saying if Mike Tomlin isn't here, they should take the best player available, hopefully tank for the next year, and maybe get an Arch Manning or whoever else is going to end up being there, right? But if Mike Tomlin is back, do they take Ty Simpson? He's still going to be... Ty Simpson's still better than Kenny Pickett was. Kenny Pickett was the best player in that quote-unquote arguments with Malik Willis to be the best quarterback in that class. And he was the first quarterback off the board there.
If I don't know. I don't think Tomlin's going to play a rookie quarterback. If this team's still competitive, which obviously... Even though how old it is, they are. Yeah. Tomlin's not going to put a rookie quarterback into that situation.
You're saying they're going to get like a bridge guy, I don't know.
They could still draft Ty Simpson.
Kyler Murray's going to come back. Or
they could still draft Ty Simpson, right? And keep him and see what happens and go the veteran route still. At the end of the day, is it Rodgers coming back? We don't know. It could be, if they still believe in this roster and believe in this team, you go out and get Kyler Murray. That's what you do. And if you're looking at a draft and stash in Ty Simpson, I'll get a guy like Malik Willis in free agency and see what he can do, right? Yeah. So, but overall, I think if Tomlin's gone, you're gonna need the new head coach let the new head coach, whoever it is, really establish what he is gonna try to do and really just rebuild this roster. Because at the end of the day, it's gonna hit everyone. It hit the New England Patriots. They had to reset for a few years. Now they're back. It has to hit the Steelers now at some point because 10 years without a playoff win is not good enough anymore. And being again, literally having 20 winning seasons as a head coach is gonna get looked past now because at the end of the day, the main success is not coming.
Yeah. Like you good thing you did win a big one at least once, I believe. I don't think he was there for 05, but like the 09, whenever it was, he beat the Arizona Cardinals, 2008, I believe. I was in grade 7. That's all I know.
Was it 2010? No, that was Rodgers.
No, that was after. I was in grade.
I was
in grade 7.
Yeah, I think it was 08 then. Yeah.
Yeah. So like overall, we'll see what ends up happening there with these guys. But that pretty much wraps it up for us. It was a fun weekend. The games as they went on went like great to bad, unfortunately. But overall, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, hit the post notification bell because we have our divisional round preview coming up later this week. You guys do not want to miss that. There are going to be some crazy matchups there. We want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. And our thoughts on your guys' thoughts on this in the comments down below. Hit the like button. We're on the road to 200 subscribers. We appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.